Can y'all hear me now? Y'all should be able to hear me now, family. Sounds good on IG though. Okay, awesome, awesome. They say they didn't find the YouTube. All right, so what I'll do, I will post the YouTube link. YouTube channel. Or so what I'm doing, I'm posting the YouTube link on my Facebook as well. And I'll make sure to post it in here too. Sometimes you gotta put at GrizzlyGenius too. One second, family. We gonna get started. Awesome, awesome. Y'all can hear me clearly. Great, great, great. Now just letting some people come, man, before I get started. And so let me see. They say they couldn't find the. Okay, you found it. All right, awesome, awesome, awesome. Greatest family. We're about to get started. If y'all want to. Yep, got to put the at sometimes for the username. Let me type that in. Seriously. Genius. YouTube page. And so if y'all want to see the birth chart that we're going to go over, y'all can go over to the YouTube page to see that specific slide. And comment. Awesome, awesome. Also, y'all getting up in here. Peace, peace, family. Woo, I hope everybody doing good. Y'all say y'all can hear me. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we're gonna get started. We ain't gonna wait too long. So today's topic is, can we please deliver my liver? And so I wanted to do this topic to go over, specifically the organ, the liver, and how we could connect it to, cosmology, going over some health aspects of it, how to add in healing that organ and things of that nature. And so we're going to do a birth chart and everything. And before we get started, since it's a month away, just to make some proper announcements for the Aboriginal Republic of North America, August the 15th through the 17th is the Aboriginal Summit. I encourage everybody to go down to Atlanta to participate in that specific event. It's going to be dope. It's going to be fun. Family, tribe, all those great events. And that is the August 15th through the 17th. So what I want to do, awesome. So first thing we want to do, we're going to go over, verbatim, what the liver is. As just to put simply, the liver is our basically our detox organ. And the reason I start off with that first word, detox organ, is because in a lot of the conversations within the field of health, you will hear people alleviate to things like we need to detox the liver, flush the liver, and all of these things, right? But the liver is a detox organ. That's what the liver, or one of many of the liver's job to perform. And so we're thinking in a way when it comes to health in the body, it's not that, detox has to happen because the liver always does that. The body is always in detox mode. And so a better statement would be um, when we're coming into the conversation of healing and, you know, specifically the liver is what do we need to add to the liver so it can detox all of the things in our body out. And so, what is the liver responsible for besides detox? It is also responsible for nutrients metabolism, um, bowel production. Bowel is made to absorb, those fats and things of that nature. Um, and the liver is also responsible for detoxification. And so, one of the things that I want to get to is what happens when the liver is failing or not functioning properly. And what's has to happen when the liver cannot do its job is high urea, nitrogen buildup. Um, Basically, inability to detox properly, slow metabolism. When the bowel is thick and it can, absorb as fast and things of that nature, we start to see obesity, people with guts and, that visceral fat all around the waist and things of that nature. And if you're someone who is constantly put it on like things like makeup and cover ups and things of that nature, it may be hard to tell exactly when your liver is in dysfunction, to say. And so it's many ways that we can tell the signs of a failing or problems occurring with the liver. And that is one, black toenails. If you ever see someone that got black toenails and things of that nature, discoloration, um, we know that, okay, it's a problem with the liver. Face acne. And the reason I'm mentioning these things is because we want to be able to be aware of the signs, especially for people who, have no other method of diagnostics as far as getting, it might not be next to an aboriginal doctor who can do a bioscan. A bioscan is simply a machine that measures the resting cell membrane in the body to produce information for all 12 body systems. And so it's other methods that they may have to use to know, what's going on in their body, feeling and things of that nature. And some of the things we do, outside of bioscans is being able to read the face. Our body is, has the ability to show us, exactly what's going on within our internal system. And so reading the face, reading the teeth, if you got cavities or, breaks or anything of that nature, we could tell what's going on with, the body because the teeth are piezoelectric. And so, that communication between the meridians, the body, the brain, etc., to deliver that information to let you know, hey, this is what's going on in your body. So other signs of, liver problems, face acne, in the middle, this right here, you know, covers, the liver. So you ever see someone with bumps right here or that line, you ever see people with that line just going across their face, not when they lift their forehead up. Obviously, you can see lines when I lift my forehead up. But I got it down, see no lines. So seeing those lines would tell you, okay, maybe a problem going on. As well as bald spots in the back of the head can indicate problems with the liver and other organs as well. And so And this, I just want to go over some of those things as far as, simple health things with the liver. Now, some things you can do as far as assisting the liver to perform better is one thing I learned from Chief Amaru Namataga Shiali, or Dr. Amaru Namataga Shiali, is eating raw asparagus and avocados. Those two specific food items, because they have high levels of glutamine, and glutamine will help with bowel production and making sure the viscosity of it, the thickness of it is proportioned correctly. It's not too thick, etc. And so the bowel can perform its duties correctly. Um, Other things that's important for the liver when you got a fatty liver and it starts to inhibit the ability of nutrients, metabolism, etc., you got to exercise. Exercising is the number one most important thing you can do for your health. Exercising has the ability to create more capillaries, blood flow, clarity, and energy. I remember a statement from Brother Kwahu. He says, "Look, if you're feeling tired, you feel tired. That don't mean you need to, or at least not all the time means you need to lay down. You need to actually invest your energy into exercising. You ever felt tired and then say, you know what, I got to exercise. Let me go outside for a walk or a sprint or anything of that nature. And then next thing you know, you finish your workouts. You like, man, I feel good. I'm alert. I'm awake now. And so exercise is the most important thing, especially for the liver to decrease those levels of, that fatty liver. And of course, I'm not just talking to y'all from a standpoint of delivering information that I just read about or anything of that nature. I am a level 1 Aboriginal doctor, indigenous doctor, and level 2, and I do bioscans on myself. And so before, I started the proper regimen and even introducing the raw asparagus and the avocados to my diet, my liver detoxing functions was low in levels, had a fatty liver, um, energy production of my liver was down, and even my protein levels was down as well. And so what did I start doing? I started to, you know, incorporate peace, family, you in the building. Um, we're going over, this topic is called Deliver My Liver. If you want to see the birth chart that we're going to go over in this topic, you can go to my YouTube page and it's at the bottom pinned, the GrizzlyGenius. But y'all in the building. And so where was I? So incorporating, healthy lifestyles, for me helped my liver get back to proper functioning. Started to eat, introduce asparagus and avocado into my diet, and I literally saw my detox function levels in my bioscans go up. Not only that, I was able to introduce a specific product that Chief Amaru Namatagashi Ali introduced me to, which carried specific healthy bacteria for the liver that literally eats visceral fat or white adipose tissue. And so when I went online and I told people I lost 11.4% in body fat, I wasn't even speaking over a 6-month period, 5 months, 4 months. No, I literally lost 11.1% body fat within that specific range time of 4 weeks of taking in that product with that bacteria. It also had beets roots, which is good for the heart and its function, and nitric oxide for those who are in the Aboriginal doctor's course. And then I also exercise. And so we're going to go through birth charts, and I'm going to teach y'all some things about understanding your birth chart too as well in relations to this topic, and making sure all of your bodily organs are doing their jobs as a community, because that's actually an important thing when it comes to healing, y'all. Out of everything I just said, the most important thing I just said was community helps you heal. Yes, family, this is recorded on YouTube as well. I'll also be posting it to my Instagram page. So, if y'all want to go back and rewatch it, I will be able to do that. And yes, it's recorded on my Facebook Live and my YouTube Live as well. And so one of the many things I have gained to understand is community plays a big role when you start to understand nature and the art byproducts of nature. If you look at everything in nature, it is a community. I was just talking to my great sister Ty Lee about this. We had a great build, and one of the topics I was able to get on, peace, family, y'all in the building, peace. And so today, just to let you know, we going over the topic, deliver my liver. If y'all want to see the birth chart slide, y'all have to go to my YouTube page. But one of the great things I talked to Sister Tali about was communities, and it's something I learned from Amaru Namutagashi Ali. When you look at ants, the trees, the bees, the clouds, etc., they all have a community contract with each other. In honor, we got our Aboriginal Village Project. In nature, they got their village project. And everybody plays their role as far as what to do in nature. This is why cross-studying becomes important, when we're learning the body system and things of that nature. Is community. Jurisdiction becomes important. Because in the Aboriginal Republic of North America, we do a fast, which is coming up this month. We do it at the end of the month. And what does the fast do for those who want to lose weight and decrease that fatty liver? Our tincture is organic lime juice with water and cayenne pepper. That will help increase autophagy in the body and for the cells to recycle all the garbage out, for that fat to get ate up. And then if you exercise to increase it even more, you simply take in coconut water. Then, if you try to gain weight or at least slow down from losing too much weight, you add manuka honey to the tincture to slow that specific thing down. But why am I bringing up the fast? I'm bringing up the fast is because we are a community. We are a community that has implemented something so important. And when I like to teach all aspects of it because it all connects to it. You may say to yourself, okay, we was on liver, he's on fast now. But why is he talking about fast and how it connects to economics, health, community participation, which creates a bond, a bunch of carbon people fasting all at around the same time range, covalent bonding? And it becomes important because we are a community, and it becomes important to economics because think about it. If everybody in a tribe fast for 3 days every month, it's 12 months, right? So we do it 3 days. We start to add all of that up. Initially, we got that amount of much of time to regrow our food, to replenish our agriculture, because we're not sitting up each every day just eating. And that takes community. And so now what is on the door? We're reestablishing our contract with nature. Because if you look at nature, everything, it flows. It perturbates in the life field and they all flow. They all do their job. The bees carry out the pollination and creating honey, and then they're not selfish. This is why you could look at nature and say, man, look, even the bees are not selfish. Sister Talib brought that great point up, and I was blown. I was like, man, that makes so much sense. The bees create so much honey, they could keep it for themselves, but they just allow us to go and grab it. But anyways, yes, we're reestablishing our contract with nature and making sure we're doing our parts to make sure when perturbation does happen within the light field that we are on the right side of it. And so after you establish community, jurisdiction, and things of that nature, I went over what you need to be aware of if you have problems with organs. You know what I mean? Looking at the face, looking at the teeth, your toenails, your fingernails, all of these things. And these are not something I'm just delivering to you. We're living it. If you look at my eyes, you can go back to any photo I took before in 2001, 2024, 2023. I used to have dark circles around my eyes, heavy bags. Now you see it's clearing up, veins and stuff in my eyes, clearing up. And so once we establish our community, it starts to bring me to, okay, what in our tool set do we have to sustain tradition, to sustain purpose for each human, for each carbon being that has the ability for two things: divine manipulation, or that dysfunctional part of manipulation. Because when you look at nature, the bees, like, and it's probably it is out there, but at the cause of what? Show me any article where the bees, the ants, any other organism has steered away from natural law systems and from what they have to do as a overall community purpose. So carbon people, or let me just say humans, because of their ability, we need a specific tool that helps us sustain, create, and cultivate our purpose and fulfill our contract in nature. And what is that system? That system is biocosmology, a term created by the Aboriginal Republic of North America, a concept that goes beyond astrology health and Western field health, because we have incorporated the laws. And so that tool that we use, we can use it for several different things. One is cultivating our purpose, our identity, what we're passionate about, how we study, all of these things, right? The other is we could deal with the psychosomatics, the psychology, the sociology. And so it's a beautiful tree that grows that shows us the system, how we could connect everything. And this system allows us to start to understand emotions. And shout out to our great Sister Latizakia, who did a phenomenal presentation on the organ, the heart, and going over water energy, emotions, and things of that nature. Because it's important to understand what happens when we suppress our emotions. When we suppress our anger, suppress our thoughts, what happens? It starts to manifest itself into disease. And for each person's birth chart, that pathology of where that disease goes into, is based on that birth chart. And we can see that. So when you get in, to those high stressful situations and you bottle up your emotions and your stress, things like liver cancer can occur. Problems with the kidneys if you got relationship issues. Problems with the heart if you haven't come to clarity, terms, and peace and understanding with your father. Heart rules fifth polarity, misnomer Leo. And so how you carry yourself, how you carry your lifestyle becomes important, because every day it is a perturbation window for entropy to creep in. You ever hear the statement? I mean, of course, we all heard the statement. You got to be careful, man, because depression, it could just slip in. You start to wonder, man, how can, just depression just slip in like that? And we get to studying, I'll remember the author name, so please forgive me, but the book is called, if I remember the title correctly, it's been a while, but Molecules of Emotions. It is by a lady author, lady scientist, I believe. But we go into emotions to start to understand. Oh, somebody had a question on IG that said, can cosmology show certain alignments, elements, ailments in our charts if we are operating in our dysfunction? Yes, cosmology can show you things that can manifest within your chart, going from the health standpoint of it, the psychology standpoint, the mundane aspects of it. It's one of the things I'm gonna get into this birth chart, but just to give an example, y'all, I mentioned the heart. Let's say you have, and y'all might not understand every term I am saying, so I guess you would just have to treat me like as my brother Bazir say, a meteorologist. You know what I mean? Because I might not be able to go over every, but let's say your Uranus is squaring your sun. Your sun represents the heart, the blood. It rules fifth polarity. Uranus represents circulation. And so let's say you have bad circulation in your chart. Those two planets are squaring. And just to put a polarity on it, I'm just using the zodiac names because that's familiar language. Let's say your sun is in Scorpio and your Uranus is in I don't know, I'm trying to think it was opposite Scorpio, but I guess say it's oppositions in Sagittarius or something of that nature. It's opposition to your sun. And let's say you had certain rebellious or spontaneous issues or impulsive like behaviors that occurred with a father or a father figure or a male, right? Initially, this may show up as deep trauma. This can occur as deep trauma, things of that nature, and it may manifest disease-wise as far as problems with the reproductive system, um, reproductive organs, or it could simply only, it could be related to the blood, the heart, etc. And because Uranus, that would be bad circulation. And so I hope that answers the question. And so yeah, it can show itself within the real world, I guess to say too, as well. Because it's no in the sense of accidents in the world, y'all. Something happens, and it may sound crazy because I'm pretty sure somebody could rebuttal with, so you telling me if I stub my pinky toe, that means there's something going else on too with my health, with my charts and all these things, and initially yes, you know what I mean, because that could you not paying attention, yeah. You know what I mean? So yes, it is something going on. Because why you not paying attention? How you stub your pinky toe? You that tunnel vision, you know what I mean? That you can't see the whole 360 degrees. So yes, you know what I mean. The charts does so show things that can manifest. And so that actually brings me to showing y'all this birth chart of someone who died from liver cancer. If you're on IG, you can't see the chart, but it's all good. Y'all be able to hear me. And so right now we're looking at this person is named David Bowie. And this is his birth chart. He died from liver cancer in January the 10th, 2016. And so this is the caption of that time period where his natal planets were and where his progressions and transits were in his birth chart. Already, yes, family, yes. And so this person died of liver cancer, right? And I had to do some journalism and things of that nature to, present this whole thing, right? So this person, David Bowie, he had, drug issues, relationship issues, and just deep trauma, that wasn't resolved. And so I don't know if y'all can see my cursor, my mouse. Hopefully y'all can. But if not, you know what I mean. This is class, so y'all see the symbols. And so the first thing we're gonna highlight is his Neptune was in the Peace family. You in the building. His Neptune, his natal Neptune, this is representing when he was born, is in 7th polarity, misnomer Libra. 7th polarity represents the kidneys, the excretory system, the kidneys, etc. Neptune represents the skin, the epithelial cells, um, and in dysfunction, it could represent like mucus, plaque buildup, tar, and those things of those nature basically. You see this square, you see these red lines. These red lines represent squares, oppositions, semi-squares, and things of that nature. You see a square in his sun, his Mars, and his Mercury, right? And so I'm gonna build the pyramid because we're gonna go into his life. He said he had drug issues. Where would this manifest for him? Where are we gonna start at? First, we're gonna start with his Jupiter. Then, why Jupiter? Because it's in eighth polarity, deep trauma, issues with reproductive organs. Jupiter represents flexibility or inflammation, things of that nature. And it's squaring his moon as well as his Saturn. And so now we see, okay, problems can occur with inflammation, growth, tumors, cancers, and things of that nature. Now the conditions upon, the manifestation of his liver cancer, we will see more in the progressions and transits. Now, from the Neptune in seventh polarity, I can already tell you, like, okay, it could possibly be something related to the liver. And anybody who takes the course know if we go to that specific degree, and y'all can do it, was that 10 degrees, and I already confirmed it. It did say he could potentially have problems, with the liver, with Neptune on this specific degree. But then we go to his transit, and his progressions. So from Jupiter, where it was, it progressed to sixth polarity, misnomer Virgo, which deals with the digestive system and things of that nature. And we see it is in opposition to his Mercury, Mars, Neptune, Chiron, and all of these planets are conjunct. Chiron represents what can injure you. With it in Scorpio, that tells me, his drug habits and problems became so problematic, started to affect his digestive system, his liver, his endocrine too, causing inflammation. And then we see his Saturn, his Jupiter, his progress Jupiter is squaring Saturn. Saturn can represent tumor, cancers, growths. And so it just adds up. And so initially, what we're looking at, this is actually a T-square. Drugs, delusions. It possibly started, at a very young age, specifically with his father, maybe his mother, and destruction. I didn't get the cars because I didn't want to go that deep into it. Just the first intro into the GrizzlyGenius segments. But as y'all can see, yes, we can read your birth chart and tell you exactly what can manifest from psychological standpoint, a sociology standpoint. is one person I remember I did their reading, and they had a lot of club energy. It's a queen of clubs. It was an air sign. Their second character card was a clubs, and they was telling me like, yeah, I don't talk. I don't like to talk and socialize and then communicate or these. I said, oh, that's gonna manifest because you're going against your nature. So initially, look, the cards don't lie. When you hear somebody and they give you the opposite of what their birth chart is showing you and their birth card is showing you, that should already tell you that's the first diagnostics right there. Okay, you going against your nature. Because naturally you socialize. Like your Mercury is in the air sign, your sun is in the air sign. You're supposed to be socializing. You isolating yourself. Okay, there's something going on. And then if they keep suppressing it and they don't address it, what happens is it starts to manifest itself into a disease. And it shows in the birth chart where it can start and where it may end up at, its pathology, its path to where it may end up at. And so we have to, it's not so much that we just need to eat healthy. We have to make healthy lifestyles, and that's what the Aboriginal Republic of North America teaches, is how to make healthy lifestyle choices, your everyday living. And from this person's chart, their liver, the liver cancer, this T square that's showing, they wasn't making choices. Their structure, routine, and discipline was off. And the enemy to entropy is structure, discipline, routine. And so initially, we could all make better health lifestyle choices and learn and start to understand the science and art of learning, studying, cross studying. Y'all saw I made the attempt to show you the levels of, the community, how liver can, affect your health, but it also shows like, your mundane and how you're living and everything else is affected too. Your relationships with people, your structure, your routine. And so I'm encouraging people to, really get into these studies to learn how to walk in your purpose and make those better choices, and also be comfortable with fear. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna have moments where, Kojo talked about it, spades. People are spades. You ever feel that fire fill up, within your body? I'm a spade, so I always feel that right before I'm about to do a lecture live or, public speaking or anything of that nature. I feel it is a fear, but I learned to accept it and use it as my fuel rather than my downfall. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, the three principles for cosmology, outside of the cards, outside of the birth chart, is the masculine principle is electric. It deals with inward. It deals with ideas. It deals with force, motion. The feminine principle is magnetism. It is the radiance of ideas, the resistance to that masculine in that functional sense. You got to think functional, I'm not talking in a dysfunctional sense. The resistance to, the electricity and magnetism. Now we got planets, stars, seeds. And it took both principles, electricity and magnetism. And, you know, we need to make sure we establish our contract with nature properly, you know what I mean, and start to work in the laws of cause and effect, the laws of possibilities, the laws of probability, and natural law systems. And that's before we get to the car. That's before we get to the birth chart itself. Is understanding those principles, you know, electricity and magnetism, force, and then the radiance of that idea. In other words, make sure you understand those principles before you pick up the cards, because understanding those principles may help you understand, okay, force, motion, and radiance of ideas. Before I pick up that card, let me pick up this fruit seed, let me pick up this watermelon seed and force it into this ground so it can radiate me some food I can eat. So I can continue, as you know, we got a contract with nature. We're a community with other communities in nature. And so that's my presentation, y'all. If y'all got questions or anything of that nature, we've been going on for almost an hour, 52 minutes. You know what I mean? If you got questions, if you want a reading, a birth chart reading, you can go to our website, www.wake.fun. I will put it in the chat for you all. And you could get those readings so you can start to understand, okay, what's my nature, what's my sociology, what's my psychology, what, you know, what areas of passion can I carry into that makes sense, you know, for you, because it is the book of you. And so I want to thank you all for delivering my liver, because in this world I do not suppress my anger, don't suppress my emotions. You know what I mean? We create balance, you know, peace, and we keep it simple and we keep it fun. You know what I mean? Some of y'all too uptight. You know what I mean? That uptightness got y'all liver in dysfunction. Shit. So y'all uptight. Y'all got to learn, you know, why fun is important. Fun is important. Like, literally. You know what I mean? So comedy is important. Laughing is important. You know what I mean? So if nobody got no questions, I wish I had all the damn cue signals Kojo got. It's all good though, family. I'm gonna give it 30 seconds before I hop off. This is recorded, you know what I mean? And so y'all can rewatch this whenever y'all want to. If there's no questions, I'm gonna let y'all go. I appreciate y'all, family, for tuning in and for letting me hold this space to deliver, you know, the thoughts that came to my head to share with all y'all today. This is just the first installment of the GrizzlyGenius segments. We'll be coming with more lives, you know, more fun, more topics. So stay tuned, family. Y'all can also follow me on Twitch at the GrizzlyGenius. Y'all can follow me on Instagram at 7k.yogi. This is your brother, Yogi Alakun, aka the GrizzlyGenius. Peace out.